obviously, that the DNA with his with his supposed child was not a match. And so I think what they were trying to do is basically make this out to be, oh, this is why this happened. He got bad news that that's not his child, and so that's why he did it. But with all the other context, especially with the 2019 incident, which was obviously a cover up, um,
This holiday season, give a gift that matters. Whoop is the wearable that tracks everything.
Welcome on into another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. Now, this is part 2 of where I left off yesterday. We're going to cover what's going on with this cyber truck explosion. Now, I don't know what word is triggering this ad to be limited, so I changed up the title and say this was an extravaganza, right? Because the way I see it, it wasn't really a T attack. Maybe I can't say the word T. It wasn't a T attack. It was something of a warning. It was well calculated, well calibrated, well thought of, strategic thinking. Came from a Green Beret, of course, one of the highest you can be in the Army, one of the highest positions, the most honorable positions as well. Shout out to the veterans and the people that's keeping the world safe as could be, right? We all know that cyber tax is on the rise, but foot on the ground is also needed as well. Leave your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think. Smash that like button before I get started. We can deep dive into it. And I have some 24-hour credit monitoring service. Click the link down below. I'm going to pin it to the top of the chat. Make sure you click the link for Identity IQ. You get a discount by using my link. All right, let's go.
receiving a lot of messages from one of the redacted names, who's a DEA agent, the one that he's talking about in the email to you. We got it from multiple sources, one of which was actually a videographer for me, I think 4 years ago. He worked for me a very short period of time. I had to let him go. He joined the Army, went to OCS, became an Army officer, sent me a text, super freaked out. Apparently he was on some rafting trip with somebody that knows the DEA officer and said, hey, this guy's still operational. He wants his name redacted.
Wow. Okay.
Not the only one. Then I received a message from another very close friend of mine who's been on the show several times saying that he got word that this guy was still operational. And so that's why we decided to redact his name. I was getting upset because I didn't receive any communication up to that point. Well, then I checked my LinkedIn. I said, let me see if this guy actually messaged me. Sure as shit, that DEA agent did message me, said that he wanted to talk to me before tomorrow's interview. It was really important.
Wow.
We tried to contact him, not from my phone. I'm not calling any of these people, but from somebody else's phone. He didn't pick up, and we weren't going to send any text thread to show any communication between us any more than the LinkedIn message. And I didn't hit him on LinkedIn. So that also 100% checks out. Now, the weird thing is anonymous as this guy wants to remain, if I remember correctly, he posted something about the Green Beret that set the bomb off.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that was his latest post. Well, Jeremy, what was it? What did the post?
It was just a report of the story.
It was just a report of the story. So very interesting how all this stuff is lining up. What do you think?
I told the guys downstairs, I jokingly said this to my wife the day that I got that email, because I read the email to her. You all have heard the email.
Now, some people say, and I know mostly news channels, when they covered this topic, they said that the man supposedly died inside of the Cybertruck. I don't think that that's true. I don't believe that that's true, because where's the body? The man wrote a manifesto. He tried to contact people so his message can get out there. That's why he decided to do it on January 1st. Wah wah. That's why he decided to do it in the Cybertruck. Wah wah. That's why he decided to do it in front of a Trump hotel. Wah wah. And this is why, because at a point when you're trying to get the message out and you have Homeland Security on your tail, right? What's the hottest topics that's going around right now? Like, what's the hot topic? Put a 1 down in the chat if it's Elon. Put a 2 down in the chat if it's Trump. Put a 3 down in the chat if it's Elon and Trump. Put a 4 down in the chat if it's Elon, Trump, and the drones. Let's continue.
Email now, you realize without context of who this person is, how just crazy it sounds. And I told her, I said, well, I mean, I guess if the dude ends up getting rolled up by the feds or he gets killed, we got a story, huh? Man, famous last words, right?
Yeah.
That's so
If you're looking for a house, you should be looking for a mortgage.
I mean, yeah, that could be shameless last words, but you didn't know that was going to happen. Like, how do you know what the next second will bring? You didn't know that. You was joking on something. But yet, this is how reality actually happens. Like, he tried to get in contact with all the main players. Shawn Ryan, of course, y'all know that he's militant. So he tried to get in contact with somebody that actually can speak his language. Leave your thoughts down below.
and I want to give context on one of the things. I saw this going around on social media. People were saying that his Signal chat, his safety number changed. I don't know if you saw this on X, but it was all over X. Apparently his safety number on Signal changed.
I seen that on X. And his safety number on Signal changed. Now, this is why I assume, right, that he's alive. And I have a strong sense that he's alive. First of all, he's a Green Beret. That's the first thing. These people can stage anything. They can get away with everything. They top tier. Second of all, it doesn't fit his description to want to just blow things up. That's not what he do. So it doesn't even fit his description as far as characteristics. It doesn't. The third thing is, why was Homeland Security on him, telling him? Was it a big cover-up? He wanted to come out and speak about events that he know that was detrimental to the United States citizens. That's another thing. The fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh thing is that I figured out. Y'all know that these Tesla trucks, right? You know you can drive them to a destination without you being in the car. Let me repeat. You can drive these cars like a remote control vehicle to the destination and you yourself don't have to be in it. Why did he choose? He could have chose a regular car and went kaboom and that whole building would have been down. I'm talking about that whole building. He didn't want the building to go down. He chose that car because he knew, right, that car, when you have some type of explosive in that car, right, it's built and it's staged to, instead of exploding, everything implodes. So it's from within. It contains it. It contains it. People stop paying attention to him then. Like I say, I haven't found any news channel, any CNN, MSNBC, all the brainwashed news channels that the majority of the people watch. I haven't seen anything that they said that they identified this man's body, because they didn't. Right after that, we had the Louisiana thing that they trying to connect to this one to try to make it seem as if it's connected. It's not connected. Two separate events, two different missions. This is not connected at all. But see, when you begin to collide these things, then you could say, you could put the word terror above it all. And that's not what this one is. But leave your thoughts down below. Let me know if you think something different so we could talk about it. This is the Healthy Discussion Show. Let's go.
He messaged me on Signal. So I went on there to look myself to see if it changed. And sure enough,
I didn't put this in too. Also, the last thing, this was the nail in the coffin to make me say he's still alive, because if he changed who had access to his profile on Signal, and if he changed his signal on it, right, after the event, then hypothetically you could say that this man is still alive. Was that hint, hint? Was that the lime in the coconut? Leave your thoughts down below.
had on January 1st, after the bombing, after he was dead, his safety number changed. That's all he sent me. He said initial contact, and I gave a thumbs up, and his safety number changed at the bottom.
Look at that.
That's after he's dead. I don't know enough about Signal to know why that would happen. Somebody has to have manipulated that, though, and messed with it. Somebody had to have been in his account after the fact and done something for that to have changed.
What did the FBI say when you contacted him?
Not a lot. I gave him the story on what went down. Was very over the top, telling them, hey, I am being transparent in every way. Feel free to contact me at any time. This is my address, my name. This is why he contacted me. This is my social media page. This is any reason why this could have happened, why this got dumped on me. This is the information. They took it. They were gracious. They were nice to talk to. Mind you, I had to explain what a VBID was, which was disheartening because you're the FBI, but that's another issue altogether. But nothing beyond that. They said thank you, and we'll be in touch if we have any further questions.
Well, they definitely got in touch with CID.
Yeah, they did.
Because that went all the way to the top of the Army. And, I'm going to dig in a little bit more on this report from 2019. However, according to international humanitarian law, including international customary law, facilities that contribute economically or financially to the war effort or of a party to a conflict are considered civilian objectives. The report jointly produced by UNAMA and the UN Human Rights Office concludes that the drug facilities associated with workers may not be lawfully made the target of attack and should be protected. The United Nations maintains that considering these objectives and individuals legitimate targets dangerously erode the fundamental principle of distinction, placing the broader civilian population and infrastructure at risk. The report sets out a number of recommendations, including that the appropriate and legal response to illicit drug activity is through law enforcement, not military operations that endanger civilians.
Well, and here's the thing. We want to know why the DOD is scrambling on this, why the FBI pushed this to them so quickly, to CID all the way up to the very top. These are very, very serious allegations.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like UN level opening an investigation type stuff into alleged war crimes. This is no joke.
It did happen.
Yeah, the ripple effect is going to be massive on this.
It did happen. I think we should take a quick break. I want to...
Do you guys believe that his message got across? I think it does. It did, because the people that he wanted to target, the people who wanted to cover these things, definitely covered it. So to me, mission accomplished.
Scrape our email
down in the chat if you believe that his mission got accomplished.
See if this Green Beret, what's his name again?
Matt Livelsberg.
Matt Livelsberg. Let's see.
Burger. Okay.
Let's see if Matthew Livelsberger sent us an email through our website email desk. We'll be right back. I know everybody out there has to be just as frustrated as I am when it comes to the BS and the rhetoric that the mainstream media continuously tries to force feed us.
Facts.
And also, and here's the best part.
We're going to skip
5,000 years of Chinese.
We're going to skip along.
And we're back from the break. We did do a scrape of the email. Here is what we got. He actually did email us. This came in on December 29th, 2024 at 10:17 p.m. emailed through the support desk on ShawnRyanShow.com. And by the way, all these emails will be posted on my X account, ShawnRyan762, and your X account.
Samosaur.
All right, here's the message traffic. Hey, man, this is an active duty SFTM sergeant out of 10th. I want to blow the whistle on our activities in a certain place. I'm willing to sit down with you on the 31st in Flagstaff or do it remotely via phone. Must be done before the 31st as I'll be leaving. So we'll be sending this to the FBI as well. Love your contact. I'm also gonna hit some people I know over there, but I just, these people don't always talk. So I think it'd be good to keep some continuity here. But so we did receive an email. What was this guy's? You deleted the message.
The burner account on there, I did. He told me to delete it, and I did. It's a common practice. People get spooked and they want it deleted, so I do it for them.
Yeah, I was going to throw that up there, but there's tens of thousands of messages in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very obvious why he did this, I think. He wanted to bring attention to the incident in 2019 that got covered up.
Fact.
Do you have any insight, any theories on this?
So we had a running theory downstairs. I've seen all of the conspiracies. I've seen all the questions about, all right, this guy is 20-year special forces. He just got done with team sergeant time. He is a very qualified and very capable Green Beret. Everybody I've spoken to who knew the guy prior, yesterday I spoke to several people, to include his old team leader, who's now lieutenant colonel. Said he was fine. Nothing out of place. His mental state was not something that anybody was concerned about. His ex-girlfriend posted photos of him bragging about how he got a Tesla and all this other stuff. So stick with me here. Very capable guy, but he loads the Tesla up. A Tesla, which Elon Musk brags about being bulletproof, right? So this is one of his selling points. It's bulletproof. We even saw Joe Rogan shoot an arrow at it and wasn't able to puncture this thing. So he loads up a Tesla knowing that it's going to, not explode like he wants it to with fireworks and a bunch of other junk, when he can make a car bomb that's going to level this place. Here's what I think. So the PAO, the Army PAO, is saying that the body inside the cab did not match the DNA of his child. All right. We also know that there was no, they said he was shot by a Desert Eagle. We know that there was no signature when it rolled up. So nobody shot themselves when it rolled up to it. You would have seen a large signature. Mr. Guns and Gear, he's on X. He goes into this a lot in depth. He's a firearms expert, and he talks about this. And there's no signature. So this is what happens. You get a Tesla because it can drive itself up to the hotel, the Trump Tower.
Listen. Well calculated. Listen.
You put a body in it, roll it up. It's already burned up. Or it's already shot, excuse me. You don't want to kill anybody, because that's not the message you're trying to send. You're not trying to level the tower or kill a bunch of people. So you load it up with fireworks and a bunch of junk to send a message. And we know that his signal number, or his signal safety number, changed. That can't be done unless you're inside that signal account. And a lot of people conjecture, was the FBI inside his signal account, whatever else. But what if he accidentally changed his safety number, goofed up there? He rolled a body up in a Tesla, specifically because a Tesla can drive.
I don't think nothing was done on accident. This man is precise. This man knows what he's doing. Jason Bourne
Itself up to the tower and did what he did to send a message to expose his stuff. And he's still alive out there somewhere.
Well, the other
answers a lot of questions.
The other thing is, maybe the FBI wasn't in his phone. Maybe, this guy's obviously very competent. He's got a TSSCI clearance for the polygraph. He's been associated with USASOC. Obviously, he was on this operation in 2019. By the way, the general in charge of that was General Miller. You'll see that in the email that we post on X later after this interview comes out. Maybe he changed his number on purpose and switched phones because he obviously was tipped off or conducted his own counter surveillance and caught Homeland or FBI tracking him.
Exactly.
And so I think there's a very good possibility that that Matthew Livelsberger might be still alive.
It checks, as far as I can tell, it checks all the blocks.
The Desert Eagle, the Desert Eagle. Yeah. little over the top firearm. But if you think about it, if he was going to kill himself, or whoever was in that car was going to kill themselves, look, if I was gonna commit suicide with a firearm, I would go with the biggest possible caliber of bullet that I could, to make sure that it actually worked, because I wouldn't want to be sitting there choking all over myself with a fucking 9mm or something.
True.
So that is,
That's
as far
true.
as I know, a 50 caliber Desert Eagle is the biggest handgun caliber that you can get. And so that could play into this as well. But
there's a lot going on.
was there something in that email again that said that this would prevent World War III with the UAP?
Well, he
Listen.
didn't say it would prevent World War III, but he was asking that. He said you need to elevate this to the media, so we avoid a world war, because this is a mutually assured destruction situation.
I wonder what he's trying to do with these, what he's trying to tell us with these drones.
Have you heard about Ryoko Pro? This is the
Man, he
cutting
was
edge
trying to
portable
tell us
Wi-Fi
something. That's all I
hotspot
know.
that people
He was trying to tell us something that was highly important. I'm talking about highly important. Let's go.
I hesitate to even get into this realm, because I have no expertise in drones, or let's just call it alien technology, UFO technology, whatever's going on here. But here's one thing that I talked about with the guys downstairs earlier. Several weeks ago, I don't know if you saw that video. It was a New Jersey sheriff or chief of police. I can't remember which, but he flew their own drone up, their own department drone up, to try to figure out what was going on. So we had all these drone issues that were being cited off of New Jersey and everything. And what he commented on video was how fast these things were. He said, we have a pretty robust drone, and they flew it up there to try to catch these drones that were there, and they just, bam, they were gone. He said there was no catching them, never seen anything like it. They don't even know, they have no idea what that could have been. And so you have this capability that is, I guess, in line with what we hear about anti-gravity being. And I don't know. It makes you wonder.
Well, you have the stuff with Ryan Graves and is it Dave Favor,
Commander David Fravor.
the Commander David Favor, who, you know, was it the Nimitz?
It was in the Nimitz strike group in 2004.
Yeah, the Nimitz strike group in 2004 that reported those UAPs coming out of the water that had no propulsion system.
I remember that.
But, you know, and it's interesting that nobody seems to know what the drones are, and it just, you know, kind of disappeared out of the media. And, you know, and the other thing is, we do have the capability to take these drones out. Well, everybody was trying to figure out what the drones on. I brought on a very prominent businessman, Joe Lonsdale, who is the co-founder of a company called Epirus. Epirus is they manufacture these directed EMP weapons that can take out 100 drones at a time with a basically sends out a simultaneous different directed EMP weapons. Brought him on. He's also founder of Palantir, big AI platform that the military's been using.
Sure.
That kind of revolutionized warfare.
Big fan.
So we could have taken those drones out at any moment in time. In fact, I know those are deployed. So that could be. So he had two objectives. One, he definitely wanted to bring light to 2019. That obviously affected his code of morals, and in the drones.
Yeah.
And he's obviously very worried about World War III, which I think everybody right now. But why Trump Hotel? Why Las Vegas?
Yeah.
It was hot topic.
Conjecture and speculation at this point. I couldn't even tell you. You know, I've heard both sides.
To me, it was hot topics. Think about it. The media now, what are they doing now? Putting Trump against Elon, or Elon against Trump. They saying that, oh, Trump ain't president, Elon is. So to me, this is the perfect situation to do reverse psychology on him. Okay, since you guys want to brand this, okay, he changed his name to Brandon on that day. He ultimately branded the whole thing. And to me, this was the best Cybertruck commercial, except it happened in real time. But let's continue.
As I've seen them finding posts from his wife, who's very allegedly, I'm not saying this, I'm just saying what has been put out on social media is very anti-Trump. She has had a number of anti-Trump posts, and then him, who his family say he's a stalwart patriot, Trump supporter, all these other things, which I guess if I had to guess, just in the realm of conjecture again, I would say Trump Tower. It draws more media, more fanfare. Was this an assassination attempt? That kind of stuff. So you get more press, more media pulling into it because it is such a significant namesake, if you will. But at the same time, it was a fireworks display and very little more. And if I'm running with the theory that I proposed a little while ago, he didn't want to hurt anybody. He wanted to send a message.
No, I mean, it's very obviously, look, the guy's got great tradecraft. You know, I mean, he changed his signal number, if that was him, or his whatever the contact number on Signal. 20 plus year in special operations at the highest level.
He's an elite. He's an
Can we
elite.
stop with the self-care week? Like, what if we did a dog?
Getting super elite vibes. Put super elite vibes down in the chat. He's an elite. Jason Bourne, I'm telling you. 007, I'm telling you.
It's bulletproof to do this. I think, there definitely wasn't mass casualties. He wasn't trying to hit mass casualties, because otherwise he would have done it at another location as well, or the bomb would have been bigger to take the entire building.
I agree.
Out. And so this definitely wasn't, in my opinion, this definitely wasn't incompetence.
Another thing to support this. So you got the email. He desperately wanted to talk to you before December 31st. He knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, January 1st was go day. Yep. Nobody was pressuring him. At the beginning of this email, we see, first of all, I'm not under duress or hostile influence or control. Okay. So he says that he reached out to you. He was very emphatic that it had to be before December 31st because he was doing this thing on January 1st. For some reason, that was a landmark day to him. Maybe it was just because big day for everybody, January 1st. But he was very emphatic that was the time. And then the thing he was trying to do was, overall, more than anything, was get a message across on the biggest platforms possible. He was trying to talk to Pete Hegseth. Why would you want to talk to the Secretary of Defense? He's trying to blow the whistle on these war crimes. He's trying to say this thing happened, man. Like, I can't live with this anymore. He desperately needed to talk to you, the biggest platform out there. He needed to talk to Fox News. I need to get this message out. That was his overall goal. In everything else, everything I've seen, I have not seen the intended goal was to kill himself or to create a mass casualty event. It is to get this message out. And how can I do that? What is the biggest bang for my buck? How can I get that done? That's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah. It's a damn good point.
Excellent point.
Wow. Do you think there was any correlation between him and the New Orleans attack?
No.
I don't either.
I looked at all of that. I looked at the posts.
I believe that there was no connection. Leave your thoughts down below. Do y'all believe there was any connection? But if you watch the news and mainstream media, they're going to make it seem like everything's connected. It's not. His mission was totally different from the other guy's mission. And bless the family that these things happen to, right? Especially in, what was it, Louisiana? Please bless those families, because this had nothing to do with this man right here on this one in Vegas. He was well calculated. He had a bigger purpose.
I looked at people are scrambling for news. Everybody wants to post something. They want to be the guy on social media that posts the groundbreaking thing. And I saw these connections to Fort Bragg, and they deployed together at this time. And it was great. So did 500,000 of the rest of us. I was at Fort Bragg. Oh man, tie me to Delta Force. I must have been part of Delta Force and some side. No, I had nothing to do with them. It's this nonsense. It's a big organization. The Army is very large. You're picking things out and you're trying to make this a thing. That New Orleans guy was a staff sergeant who got out of the active duty Army in 2015, and he was in the reserves until 2020. People are saying in the last year he was radicalized. I talked to multiple of his peers to include, I'm going to be very, very careful with this. Former leadership, I'm not going to give what echelon they were at, former leadership of his, there was no indication at all back then that he was radicalized. He didn't say radical. I've seen the posts. I saw several people who were saying, well, we have confirmed posts that he was saying radical Islamic things.
No,
I don't believe it.
That's
Because
BS.
nobody he worked with confirmed that. They said, no, we had no indication that he was like this. And if you talk to people now, they said in the last year, he was radicalized. He started taking on these more radical teachings of Islam and everything else. And he had this, he fell into financial hardship and all these other things. So you're telling me this guy who was a former 42 Alpha S1 guy, human resources, pushes your paper, and then an IT guy, 25 Bravo, is somehow connected to a Green Beret team sergeant out of 10th? No.
Well, also they found an ISIS flag in New Orleans,
Which
they didn't find any of that here.
I think that might have been just some silliness on his
Fake.
part, trying to take on some kind of
bigger
Islamic banner
Exactly.
of jihad. I would conjecture, all conjecture, say that is likely he has no affiliations to ISIS. But
You know, I wonder. I don't really believe in coincidences. You know, and both of these explosions happened in the same day, or both of these attacks, whatever you want to call them, happened on the same day. The attack and the explosion, which obviously wasn't meant to be an attack.
that's fair. And I don't believe in coincidences either normally, but I look at a landmark day like January 1st, and I think, what better day? Any day. I'm going to do a thing January 1st.
Yeah.
And I think possibly old boy in New Orleans had help. I don't think that he could have done all the spotting and surveying and assessing himself.
Exactly.
He would have likely had to at least had a spotter to
They stated that it was 3 males and 2 females, and they had other explosive elsewhere as well. So that's a whole different operation. Let's continue. Just to give you an update.
say, yeah, you're good to go. Maybe. But I think that's plausible. But other than that, I have a hard time making that connection.
You know, this email, I wonder who else he reached out to.
Plenty of people.
This came in from Dabber GMIB or MLB at protonmail.com. So he was even using an encrypted email service, but which I think everybody in intelligence and special operations knows what Proton Mail is.
Yeah. I would imagine if Joe Rogan, Fox News, name some other big names out there, scrub their emails right now, they could probably find a message from this guy.
Yeah.
He came to me because I'm like D-list media. I'm the guy who has kind of a platform on social media, but I'm not big time, but I can kind of get things to the big time every once in a while if it's a big enough story. And that's what he was hoping for. He was just throwing mud at the wall, trying to get somebody to get his message out.
And mission was accomplished. His mission was accomplished. This guy, I tell you, he's Jason Bourne. I'm telling you.
Well, it's going to be big time now.
Yeah.
But is there anything else we need to cover that you can think of? Jeremy?
Did you want to go into the other item we talked about in the ride over here this morning?
Hi, I'm JT, and I made Result Hunter, the search engine for
I wonder what that is.
Can I say it?
Yes.
Yeah, the man pads. Well,
I'm unfamiliar.
Yeah,
all
what's
right.
that?
So I'm saying this with you can decide to use this or cut it out. This is hard to work with because keep in mind, let me give some background on this. I'm an intelligence analyst and I've spent many years validating sources, taking information in, putting it back out, telling my humenters, hey, this source, this is valid. Let's, give him a rating of this, do this, recommendations. So we can identify good sources in the field that give us information, and we can say, yes, this is an A source versus an F6. This is just garbage. Somebody got paid for something. I still work in intelligence. I'm an intelligence officer. I work for a nonprofit. We Remnant Ministries out of Texas. In fact, the website is in my bio on X.
Okay.
I work for Dr. Pete Chambers, Green Beret. And we were involved in counter human trafficking, along with just providing ministry to all kinds of stuff, border operations. Most recently, we've been involved in West North Carolina a great deal. And we had some confirmed reporting through two solid sources.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I have to be very iffy. And I told him in the car, and he can tell you offline, I cannot say this on the air, but we had two solid sources, one south of the border and then one from an element within our own government, that confirmed independently of each other that some Iranian-made man pads, so surface-to-air missiles, had come across the border. We had the location and everything else. Well, Doc, that's
so look at what came across the border. Now you remember we had the border crisis, right? Which we still do. You don't know who else decided to come across the border with the illegal immigrants. You don't know who else. So I just look at it like, man, that's crazy. I'm glad that we have Trump in office, at least about to be in office, because you need to zip that up. You don't know who's walking into the United States of America with what intent. Crazy to me.
That's what he goes by. Doc Chambers, he put this out on a podcast, and I was very emphatic. Like, this is not stuff that I like to put on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an intel guy by trade. This stuff is not for social media consumption. We got this to Secret Service. We did the whole gamut and got everything pushed to them. And that's why Trump was pushing a lot of this stuff out when he was, because we had told the Secret Service and they had the reporting and everything else. But we have not, to my knowledge, have not recovered those man pads. Now, I'm not privy to that, but what I do know we have done is we have apprehended the couriers on a second run of theirs, and we have local law enforcement got together with federal law enforcement and rolled up the safe house in, I will not say that on this show, but they rolled up the safe house where it was, and we have since identified what that issue was on the border.
Now, let me just. Where did they come through?
They came through an actual point of entry, in a legal point of entry along the border. I'd have to pull up the original reporting, but we had the actual.
So we now have Iranian missiles. Who knows how many inside the United States?
That is not something you're going to see in a lot of places. Like I said, I didn't even want to talk about it. It was one of those things where I was just amplifying what he was putting out already, because I was like, man, I don't know about putting this out. But it was something we found was pertinent, because at the time, Trump was still campaigning. He was flying around, and there was the reports were their intent was to take down Trump's airplane. So at the time, Secret Service switched things up a bit, and allegedly, from what I've told, they started flying him around on charters for a while until they could identify and kind of mitigate that threat. But that was the reporting stream that was coming out at the time. Feds handled it, off my plate.
I mean, I'm with you on the not releasing certain things on social media. I understand that, but on the other hand, it seems to be the only way to demand any type of accountability or get this and force FBI, Homeland, whoever else is involved to dive into this shit and actually take part. And that's what we've been doing here on the show with Scott Mann, retired Lieutenant Colonel Green Beret, Sarah Adams, former agency targeter. We brought on Legend, who's an Army intelligence guy who goes by Legend because he doesn't want to reveal his name because he still is very involved. And we even went all the way to Vienna to interview Commander Massoud, the leader of the National Resistance Front in Afghanistan. And we've been talking about this stuff for a year. We got it to Congress. Congressman out of Knoxville, Tennessee, Tim Burchett, sent a bill up. It's literally about we need to stop funding the Taliban, $40 to $87 million a week. The Taliban has set up multiple NGOs within Afghanistan, and basically what we're doing is sending loads of cash to NGOs that the Taliban had set up. We're funding our own demise, and nobody's fucking paying attention.
Damn.
Nobody's paying attention. We tried to get it in the media. We got a little bit of hits. Most of them were from outside the U.S. We had a reporter out of India kind of cover it, but we've been warning about what's happening for damn near a year now. Sarah first came on, I believe it was October of 2023 was her first interview, and nobody took it seriously. Now we have the New Orleans attack. We have Iranian missiles. We have these invisible bombs. Do you know about the invisible bombs? So now these terrorist organizations have developed invisible bombs that will get through metal detectors, any kind of screening device that's out there, and they brag about this. And now we just did a Twitter Spaces with Sarah Adams, and they are now bragging that what we know about the invisible bomb, it's now even more advanced than it was before. So that means they can get this into stadiums, they can get this into airports, they can get this pretty much anywhere they want, because you cannot detect it.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Great.
So, for the people out there, look, there's no stopping what's here. You cannot stop this.
Nope. You can't roll it back.
Not
Can't
with
put the
what we
genie back in
have
the bottle.
already in here. We have sleeper cells.
Yep.
We're already getting reports that I just lost my train of thought. Oh, we're already getting some reports that there may be a bit more involved in the Louisiana, New Orleans attack that they're not releasing. We also, I'll tell you this, there's a group of people flying around and basically briefing up different departments, governors about what's coming, how to deal with it in their communities. There are deputies in New Orleans who put in requests for training on how to take care of a threat like this, and those fucking requests were denied. They were denied. And so what I basically want to say is it's going to be a bloody 2025. I think that's very obvious.
That's quite accurate.
So for those of you that are looking for something to do and if finally come to the realization that our government is failing us, here's what you need to do. You need to get with your local communities. You need to, especially schools. Schools are very vulnerable, no matter how many active shooters we have in the schools. The infrastructure that's been put in, which is minimal to none, a lot of schools still have none. You better start holding your schools accountable, and you better start raising hell and having them upgrade security no matter what the cost, because no matter what the cost is, it's not gonna amount to the loss of life that we will potentially see throughout the United States. And so,
could a Cybertruck like the one that you see right behind me pay you?
Talking about the Cybertruck. It's quite relevant now, isn't it? Leave y'all thoughts down below. Let me know what y'all think about this one. Let's continue.
Get these guys to do something.
Yeah.
Start calling your senators. Get these guys to do something. They have been warned for over a year that this is coming, and nobody wants to take it seriously. Nobody wants to take it seriously. We contacted the House of Foreign Affairs Committee. They did like a Zoom call.
Yeah, that's
just for a little media hit. Our government is failing us. And so it's in our hands now. It's your kids, it's your wife, it's your husband, it's your parents that are going to pay the price for what we have installed in this country. And it's now up to us.
Yes, it is.
They aren't going to do anything.
And that's one reason why I wanted to make sure that this video get out. I decided to do a reaction video about it, because a lot of people aren't talking about this side of the story. We talking about the mainstream media, and I don't believe anything that they say. On that note, peace, blessings, and love. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification. I left credit when credit's due. You can find his video. Click the link in my description, and you'll be able to see his video. On that note, peace.